I guess I'm gonna try another sort of like drunk MRE, but sort of like a Macon one, I guess. We say find the pork and beans in the tomato sauce seems to work the best for this recipe, but basically just can of beans, preferably the pork and beans and not the baked, because they're not like these are more neutral for the other spices and add, but basically then just add a bunch of meat. This one is 2 hot dogs, but if you're to use it as like a cold weather ration, which is probably what I'd recommend this for, because it's really high protein, really high fat, take a lot longer to fully digest than it would if you have the like high carbohydrate diet. But obviously you don't want to go into ketosis if you're not ready for it or whatever, so you still want some other sugar too. But basically just do this and then sort of like a chili, but like sort of like a hot soup. And if you just eat all the broth too, it's a lot of liquid, it'll warm you up a lot. But I think it's something like 800 calories or so, and it's like 35 grams of protein. That's like ton of fat. Yeah, like ton of fat though too. Not too bad. Oh yeah, I guess beans, but not too salty. But you could substitute, like probably would substitute meat sticks, probably like the softer ones, but could do like beef jerky or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just if you had the softer ones, then it would work better without heating it. But obviously heating it would be more optimal for cold weather, because then you get the warming liquid the whole time. If you eat it like right before you go to bed or whatever, it takes a long time to digest. It warm you up a lot. But just have to add the meat and add some spices. Currently just has some onion powder added from the kitchen. Or no, it's minced onion, whatever. Pretty much whatever you want. I do like onion, garlic, a lot of pepper. I'm gonna substitute the Korean gochugaru instead of regular chili powder to make this a little spicier. Add some cayenne, whatever. Let's see. There's some really fine garlic powder. This stuff's like way too fine. It's almost like flour. Oh no, at the local grocery store it kind of sucks, but it works. Some black pepper. I think we're empty. Or close. Hearing the spring noises. Oh no, it's just being weird. Alright. We got the gochugaru. Not that less. You want it to grind a little bit. I think I did 2 of the regular small cheap ass hot dogs. Could probably do like 4 of the, unless they're really small, of the like regular size sort of like small meat sticks. Not sure if you had really tiny ones like the Slim Jims, not sure because they're long, but basically just cut it up however you want for make some fun shapes, I guess. A little bit of cayenne. Well, crushed red pepper, but same difference. It's just flakes. Yeah, that'll work, I guess. Oh. Let me just mix it up. I'm gonna have to go microwave it for a couple minutes. Get it nice and fucking screaming hot. At least I would add plenty of meat, so it'd be like multiple meat sticks, but I think beef jerky would work if you heat it. It would probably soften up enough. Or if you just break it into small chunks, it doesn't really matter if it's like hard. But yeah, something like that, I guess. Don't know. Probably would show. Might eventually, I guess, could show like the mess kit that I sort of made up, but I think the best one that I found is there's like a Serbian mess kit that has like actually has a pot instead of a lot of them just have like the weird like fry pan skillet thing with like. I mean, there's different forms of like the one where it's like the little 2 pouch thing with the handle of the skillet folds over, and there's some other ones, but a lot of them seem to be more like really small pots, where the Serbian one is like it's like actually a fairly big pot, and it has like a 1 liter jug that goes into it, and then there's like the cap is like the bowl of the other side that snaps onto the fin. It's kind of like a weird shape. It's like a big rectangle thing, kind of like this long by about that big, but actually works pretty sweet. But don't know, probably would recommend something like that. Would be good to use for, you have other options for like actually boiling water or whatever, but I suppose if you just trust the purification tablets, if you had a like reasonable filter, you probably don't really have to boil, but then it tastes terrible. I think we're about done in the microwave though. So we look a little bit. Look at this. It's a bunch of meat, a bunch of crap. Might have not been quite enough seasonings, but it's probably good enough. Wasn't looking to see what they have for smaller of the sheets for vacuum pack and stuff, but I think it would be kind of a pain in the ass to individually vacuum pack seasoning packets. But I was thinking either that or if I could get a hold of a shitload of the little tiny Ziploc bags I use for parts or whatever. That would probably work too, just to have like, so you could already have packets already made for other stuff sort of like this, so you could just have, if you can produce like some amount of meat or whatever, you just have like a tear packet that just has all the seasoning you would need, and being that you get to put in what you want in the ratios that you want, it's probably going to be better. And it's obviously not going to weigh anything or take up very much space. To have like a handful of them in your bag or whatever would be probably a good idea to like spice up your MREs hell of a lot more than the stock ones that we had tried on here previously. Definitely did not taste all that good. Oh, this is very basic, as you can see, but it hits the spot if you've been cold and marching and you gotta have something before you go to bed. So fucking hit it. It's like kind of like chili, kind of not, but it's a lot more soupier. It's not dry. I mean, I guess you could add crackers if you had them, if you wanted to make it a little dry, but I guess it's nice having the extra broth. I think I recorded I think there was like 5 other MREs I had, so there's like 6 total, but I might upload this video before the other ones just because it's more, since being cold weather ration might be more relevant if I upload it in January, which would be probably uploaded today actually. So this is gonna do like one of them a month because I don't have that many of them for now, and just see how they do, I guess, but something different to try. It's your basic idea is you get it in piping hot, and it's got a lot of the protein and fat and stuff, but it's more more sort of slower burn calories than your carbohydrates. That this will kind of activate your stomach for a while, and you'll have to hit the bathroom eventually with all the beans, but other than watching out for the ketosis, whatever, so you still want some sugar eventually, but I don't know. Works good. Really warms you up a lot, eating a shitload of hot liquid. But obviously the liquid is from the can. You don't have to separately provide it. Otherwise, obviously you could do ramen or some other thing would also work. Similarly, I guess, if you're in cold weather climate. But this is a lot spicier than at least the regular ramen. Some of the cup ones can get pretty spicy though. Those are pretty good, but obviously this is more of just like a single meal. This isn't for a day pack or whatever. You'd want to be issued a couple something, but if you have one of these and a regular MRE and Smart Shit, it's pretty good. I was thinking it'd be fun to try out some different, work up some recipes like this where you can have the spice packets ready, that if you get like a single can of beans or some other stuff, that could sort of make some different things, sort of mix it up instead of only having the freeze dried all the time. Well, or if you have the actual military Marines, but their lifespan is not actually that long, really. But obviously these cans aren't either, but you substitute the can for whatever you have available at the time. And whatever you got for meat available. Well, this is a pretty bulky, like hell of a lot more filling than you get from some other mains I had. This is a lot damn bigger. And then one of them things you can, pretty sure heat is sort of an appetite suppressant anyways. If you get it like real spicy, that you can kind of like slow down the rate that you ingest just by increasing the heat, and it kind of like increases the total, like one of them things that like if you chew more you feel more full than if you're not, whatever. If you eat for a really long time period you'll probably feel more full than if you just slam it down really fast or whatever. You probably feel more rapidly feel like hungry again. Not sure how the psychology works, I guess. Well, for normal people. Anyways. Well, if you get it pretty hot, like starting to open your sinuses hot or so, is about where I'd be aiming with something like this, where it's not like hard to eat it, but especially when it's still like piping hot, that kind of takes a while. It's not trying to burn your mouth, but it's kind of like gives you a long time of eating the hot liquid and like slowly building up the heat where it really warms you up. If you're out doing shit cold all day or whatever and come in, takes a couple minutes in the microwave, and then it like really warm me up, like hits the spot pretty good. But I would think if you had a rocket stove or something, if you're out hunting or whatever, and it's like, if it's actually cold, it'd be pretty sweet. Be able to have big, super hot liquid. Definitely not as compact, but it's not like, it's kind of bulky, but in like a different way, I guess. It's like wider, but the MREs are probably about like this big comparatively. Obviously they're thinner, but it's like a fair bit wider, because it'd just be this with like rubber band with like a Ziploc with a couple of the meat sticks or something. Or if you have the kind that are individually heat shrinked or whatever. You know, they have the vacuum seal usually, like the Clements or whatever you got, I guess. Just do like a couple of big ones or multiple of the smaller ones. It's like a big bundle and a little packet with your little Ziploc with your spices or something. Be something you could use for some stuff. Just trying to work up. That was the main idea, is work up some recipes for stuff that's like semi-regularly available. That if you just show up at a place and you find they only got a can of beans left, if you had some other meat, doesn't really matter what it is, you just throw it in and do stuff that some I think would be fun to work up different sort of spice packets to work with. Have a little, not like a booklet, but just a little box, like a ton of them of whatever. So if you find something or you shoot something that's got some kind of meat on it, you could make something different instead of just having plain meat or whatever. Suppose flour or some other thing would be a real good resource for stuff like that too, since it's so it lasts for a real long time, and you can obviously you can make a lot of shit with just like some water and some salt or whatever. You don't really need much else to make basic like tortillas or some other type of shit. Then we can, make little sandwiches or tacos or whatever. Maybe a little cooking oil. That's kind of what I was thinking with the Serbian one. Might get a second one and try a different one if you take out the bottle. Although you could just put cooking oil in it, I guess. But you have like a relatively large cavity in the middle. You could put like all kinds of other utensils and stuff inside it. Or have like a small bottle of oil and spice packets and everything in your mess kit or whatever. Sort of like Nestling doll style where it's inside of the thing. But that's all like bug out, survival, camping shit, I guess. Yeah, so kind of trying to get it like fairly spice level, similar, trying to get a similar amount of meat all the time. But it worked out okay. I did like one hot dog in quarters, 1 1/2 to get to some different shapes. Figured the quarters being smaller would be more likely to sort of sink to the bottom, and the big ones might float more, so you kind of get like more even mixture, but as long as you put enough, doesn't really matter. When in general, just opening up, like getting it spicy enough, start opening the sinus on like for like a half hour or longer. It does help with like if you get congestion when you're cold out or whatever. Kind of helps with breathing and stuff. I'm an added bonus, I guess. Well, depending on what you got, could add a little bit of oil, maybe like a blob of butter or something if you want to like increase the amount of calories, whatever. And it's fairly soupy, so if you had like an emery cracker, or as in general any kind of bread, I guess you could add in, or potato, like potato soup. Or noodles. But it's getting pretty big by that point. If you had a fair amount of stuff, that'd be like almost a whole day's meal then, but put up a craft beer just for fun. I don't know. I kind of like the soupy consistency. A little different than normal chili. Well, besides the spice, obviously, is different. Having gochugaru instead of like more like Western chili or like cumin or any other. Don't know. I guess let me know if you guys got any ideas for stuff to try. For different sort of rations, I guess. So other than the spice packet that you could make ahead of time, it would just be literally a can of beans and then any type of meat at all, pretty much. Theoretically would work. Next down at the bottom, you just get all the spice. But I guess I'll do it.